Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another political episode. So it's been a month, almost a month. Never mind, I blundered. But it's the end of the month. This election was held on October 9th. Just like 20 days, I want to believe, at least 20 days ago. And finally, we are going to be projecting the unanimous winner, Daniel Chapo. It's not a surprise. Daniel Chapo, who comes from the ruling party, authoritarian party, if you will, FRELIMO, which is always been the governing party of Mozambique for years. So, who is Daniel Chapo? Daniel Chapo is just your average politician and lawyer and jurist. You don't necessarily have to know the candidate. I can guarantee you a majority of Mozambicans didn't know who Daniel Chapo was when running and announcing his run in 2024, I want to believe. But then again, identity politics is so big in Mozambique. It's one of the biggest identity politics countries in the world, Mozambique. I can prove this to you. Looking at the background, it says FRELIMO, which has ruled the country since 1975, when they created a one-party Marxist-Leninist state, allowed multi-party elections as part of the peace process that ended the Mozambican Civil War in 1994. However, the opposition has decreed these elections as rigged in FRELIMO's favor. After the 2023 local elections, protests broke out due to alleged fraud on the part of FRELIMO, which the police killing at least 3 protesters. Public perceptions of the election were muted, as many view as a FRELIMO victory as a foregone conclusion. Yeah, so basically, it's obvious because FRELIMO always has an overwhelming chance of winning in every election, even in times of corruption. List of presidents of Mozambique. As you know, there's very little. There are only 4 presidents, now 5, because Dan Chapo has been declared president-elect. So, yes, you'll see the red here. It's all of them have been the part of the FRELIMO party. Which is a democratic socialist political party in Mozambique. And this political party is left-wing, very left-wing. It historically used to be very far left. Because that was when the People's Republic of Mozambique was founded. So this political party, FRELIMO, has been the governing party for years. And the first president, Samora Machel, he was a part of the People's Republic, and obviously it was a one-party socialist state. So really, it's just one guy. I believe it's House elections. But then in 1994, balance of power changes. The opposition party, RENAMO, is in favor, as you know, is more center-right to right-wing, which also participated in the Mozambican Civil War and revolt against the communist ideology of the ruling party of FRELIMO. So yes, didn't win ultimately, but having much more of a threshold due to the result of the creation of a 2-party system in Mozambique. RENAMO pretty much does the best it's gonna do, 33.73%. This is probably the best scenario for RENAMO you'll ever see. But Mozambique, as not a surprise, but FRELIMO wins here. Actually, they do very better in 1999. It seems very possibly that RENAMO could possibly take over. But as you know, have they yet to do it 20 years later? Nope. Despite RENAMO getting more energy from, of course, the aftermath of the Civil War. Now, I'm going to come to the conclusion that FRELIMO, they're like, yeah, there is pretty good chance where there was corruption. They pretty took advantage. FRELIMO took advantages the ruling party and kind of suppressed Renamo votes. By now, if those weren't suppressed, I would say Renamo would have been a ruling party by now. But look at that. You'll see 2004 jumped up to 63% for Armando Guebuza. And it even grows in 2009, 75%. Guebuza wins 75% of the popular vote. Okay? After Guebuza leaves office, I guess he was a popular president, we have Philippe Nyusi? Philippe Nyusi? I want to believe that's his name. Afonso Del Cama, oh, we'll just call you Alfonso. He makes a comeback, 36%. He's getting some territories there. And as usual, the country gets very well approved with Philippe Nyusi, and he overwhelmingly wins by 73% in 2019. And what usually is supposed to happen, and this is what a lot of people is going to, well, a lot of people have concluded, usually what history repeats itself. 2014, a new candidate comes in. You got two new candidates. It's more of an even match. Well, what was surprising was Daniel Chapo, very new face. No one knew who he was. And he won 70% of the popular vote. How did he get so much votes? So much votes without very little name recognition. I mean, you got Philippe Nyusi. No one knew who he was in 2014. That's why he got 57%. Still a landslide. But you'll see Renamo does pretty well. Got 36.60% of the popular vote. Right? And you'll see after they got to know Nyusi, he gets in a landslide. That's why there's a lot of allegations of electoral fraud. Like, hey, this is not usually how it goes. But FRELIMO is basically saying, oh, you know what? This is a new political era. People are so happy and so amused with FRELIMO. And you would be wondering, okay, how does the world see this election? Well, you'll see, obviously, the more democratic and more the free world, the West, as you know, is we usually divide the countries by regions. If we talk about international politics, the West is on Renamo's side. They're speaking and saying, hey, you know what? The chances of electoral fraud is unusually high. And Daniel Chapo, he gets the support of Russia, China, biggest ally, China, Angola, probably a good partner there. Even Brazil. Brazil has good ties with Mozambique because they're both Portuguese. But yeah, they're saying, no, Daniel Chapo legitimately won the election. And to be honest, if this was sort of, I'm guessing there was fraud, but he was pretty much going to win anyway. Because, like I said, did Renamo ever win an election? No. They haven't, because they didn't win the Civil War. They lost. But it was a privilege that they got to exist. Because the Mozambican Civil War, of course, was fought because this new political group called Renamo, which was a military alliance that then turned political party, this so-called political alliance called Renamo goes in and you're basically is challenging the one-party system of the Mozambique Communist Party, which is FRELIMO, in other words. Did they win? I'm not going to say they lost, but Mozambique, nothing really changed. Renamo didn't take over the state. Renamo didn't take over the country. In fact, FRELIMO's still holding on to power. Now that they're holding on to power even more. So would this be a start of a second civil war if this situation escalates even more? Well, what it's looking like right now, FRELIMO and how it's been suppressing, of course, opposition. I think the Georgia election dispute is actually more newsworthy than this, but who knows? There has been insurgencies with FRELIMO in the past. And again, Mozambique is a very divisive country. So, yes, reactions. Let's take a look at reactions. So, China reacted. Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Qian congratulated the FRELIMO party and Chapo on their victory. Obviously, because, as you know, FRELIMO is pro-East. They are pro-Russia, okay? While RENAMO is pro-USA, pro-democracies, pro-Europe. On the 26th of October and called for the continuation of strong Chinese and Mozambican ties. Then again, China has strong ties in Africa. Very strong ties, and they do a lot of trading in Africa. That's part of the reason is Pakistan, because Pakistan is like a corridor for China to get access to that Indian Ocean so they can go and make ties with Africa. So China has good ties with Pakistan. But I'm getting distracted. South Africa. President Cyril Ramaphosa announced on the 27th of October that he welcomes the election results and congratulated President-elect Daniel Chapo and his party, FRELIMO, while also calling for calm and denouncing the violence. So yeah, South Africa, as you can see in the Mozambican Civil War, apartheid South Africa has really bad relations with Mozambique, obviously. But after apartheid South Africa collapsed and the new Republic of South Africa took over, new Republic of South Africa, or just free South Africa, if you want to call it that way, because apartheid no longer exists, they began to share foreign relations, and they began to get very close. I mean, the two border each other, right? They're both bordered with each other, and they're like, hey, let's take advantage of this border. Let's make good relations. I mean, Mozambique would prefer China over South Africa, but South Africa does enjoy the Mozambicans now that apartheid is over, but they didn't really like the Mozambicans when apartheid existed. But yes, so I'm not surprised that South Africa, which in some words can be a mix, it is a free country. I mean, kind of, if you want to say politically, when it comes to racial, it's like what the United States was during the 60s, where they kind of, as you know, in this case, where the United States kind of mistreated African Americans in the 60s, civil rights era, and all that stuff. They're kind of that way with the Boers. I'm going to be pretty white. Like, white minorities have been oppressed in South Africa. The Boers, discrimination still exists. It's not as big as apartheid. But then again, South Africa has ties with Russia, ties with China, but they also have ties with the United States and Europe. So they kind of enjoy everybody. And they're going to enjoy Mozambique, even FRELIMO. But I don't know what they think about RENAMO, though. Maybe they think of RENAMO as too far right. But anyway, what do you guys think about these results? Will this result, and then usually we've seen much worse, and usually the much worse results just bypass, and people forget about it. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below, and as always, I will see you all in the next political episode.